Welcome to Just Beachy with Deb
and Wendy.
Growing up in the 70s in our Toronto Beach neighborhood was a time unlike any other. Bell-bottom pants, high handlebars and banana seats, water buffalo sandals, crazy adventures, and home with the streetlights. We have lots of stories to share.
So sit back and join us as we reminisce about the people and the times that shaped our lives.
Just Beachy, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Just Beachy. Just Beachy. Just Beachy, you're so fine, sit down and have a good time. Just Beachy. Just Beachy. There we go. Yay!
Yay!
Hey, welcome to episode 25.
It's 6,043. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I wonder what year we'll be when we get to that.
I can't believe we've been doing this, since August?
August, yeah.
It was National Sisters Day.
That's right.
Yeah, we started this.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah.
We're still going.
We're still going. And
we got
people are
how many
still listening, so I guess that's a good thing.
It's good. It's a good thing. It's a nice thing.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. I hope people listening think it is too. So, yeah. We like it.
Or we're just talking to ourselves.
We are. And that's okay. We could do that on the phone. So, yeah.
We have 57 members on our Facebook page.
Woo-hoo!
And I think we average, at least all I look at is YouTube. We get about maybe 30 views a week on our podcast. So,
mm-hmm. And some people go back and listen to the other ones.
Yeah.
So, see what they missed.
I'd like to see, over 100. That would make me very happy. But, at the same time, we're not doing this as a popularity contest. We're doing it because it's fun.
It is fun. We are having fun.
But it would be nice to be popular.
Oh, ask me how many times I've watched Wicked this week.
How many times have you watched Wicked this week, Deb?
Well, if I turn the camera, you'd see the face of Cynthia Erivo. It's my happy place, man.
I know.
The more the dumpster fire blazes, the more I watch Wicked.
And we touched on that last week, right? What do you do to bring joy into your life? And if you watch Wicked, 5 times a day, every day, then you do it, man.
Well, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And
it is a long movie.
It is a long movie. And I usually get up to the part where they dance and they become friends and then they sing Popular before I fall asleep. That's kind of from the time I put it on to the time I'm sitting in the chair and just watching it. But I love it. I go back and I watch some of the musicals, like the dance scene, in I can't think of the name of it, but in the library, right? The book place,
right? Yeah.
With the medium rare book section. It's every time I look at it, I just amazed at the choreography. It took them a whole week to make it.
Wow.
And they brought in parkour people, the people that climb up the sides of buildings and
parkour.
Yeah.
All I have is The Office in my head now with Steve Carell and his crew. Parkour. Not doing a very good job of it either.
Those people. Yeah. So it's just, I love it. It's good. Yeah. And I also watched The Trouble with Angels today. Well,
that is such a lovely movie. Haley Mills, Rosalind Russell. Yeah.
1966.
I'm just thinking of the music right now and I have shivers, right?
You hear that music and the movie. There's no other. I don't know.
The second one they came out with where Stella Stevens played Haley Mills' role, it just wasn't the same.
Angels Go, Trouble Follows.
Yeah.
They tried to cash in on the grooviness of it, but because it was the 70s.
Yeah.
No, she just didn't. I don't know why they didn't get Haley back for that. They could have brought her and the actress that played Rachel, and they could have taken over the world. It would have been great.
No, great movie. If you haven't seen it, really look it up because it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry.
I was crying
at the time. Yeah. Oh, how can you not?
That's right. That last
No
scene. Oh
more
my
horse
God.
races.
And you can't tell me that there wasn't anything going on between the Mother Superior and Sister
They
Ligori.
were just
I don't
very,
know.
no, they were
They
just
were
very
very good
close.
friends.
They
They were
were
good
kindred
friends.
spirits, like
They
Diana
were.
and Anne, from Anne of Green Gables.
I'm
Just
not
good
so sure
kindred
about them
spirits.
either. I don't
No,
know.
they're kindred spirits.
No,
And no,
you can have kindred spirits. I know.
yeah, I know,
And
I know.
but they were really, she comes in and she at midnight and gives her a pot of tea and then sits down and listens to her day and pats her on the hand. Come on, come on.
Oh, Archie. Sorry, I have a dog after a cat.
Uh-oh. You know what else is popping up in my Facebook all the last few days are like parrots and things talking to dogs and cats in their house. It's like, like going over and having a conversation with the dog or the cat. It's so funny. Oh no, you okay? You okay? And there's a minor bird one in England, and as people are passing by, in a British accent, it's going, "You all right, love?" It's a minor bird, just sitting on a wall. You all
I don't
right,
even
love?
know how certain things come up on our feeds. Like all of a sudden out of the blue,
You have to be careful what you research.
Yeah, because next thing is showing up, and it's just
It
like,
does.
my gosh.
I want to see that.
I talked to Amy today about banana bread, and when she got home, she was getting stuff about banana bread on her TikTok feed or whatever. Right?
But that's the age we're living in. Everything listens. We're wearing, eye watches that if you say a certain name, it's going to answer you. Echo has Alexa. And when I watch My Life is Murder, her name is Alexa, and my Alexa will answer when she's, it's so weird. It's like,
well, and that's, what we like to talk about the 70s, because none of this was happening back then.
Maxwell Smart
unless you had a telephone with what did they call those lines? Where other people could listen in?
Like a party line?
Yeah, a party line, right? That's the only intrusion we had back then.
The fanciest phone was the one on Maxwell Smart's shoe. It's a shoe phone, which I loved. But it's true. Everything's listening.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as privacy. And since Musk, attacked the all the files for all the millions of Americans, God knows what he knows. I don't think that's happened in Canada, but people get our credit card information all the time. A lot of identities.
That's true. Well, quite often too, because my work email is where if someone's trying to get into my live account, I get given a code to use in case it's me trying to get in.
Yeah,
and that happens, a couple times a week. Like
having the two-factor thing is really important. I at least once a week I get a notice that somebody's trying to get into my Yahoo. Did you change your password? Was that you? No, actually it wasn't. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time back then was simple. If you wanted to get a song off the radio, you had to stand by with your tape recorder and your two fingers poised to hit record as soon as it came on, right?
Making a mixtape back then took some effort.
It did.
You would have to be listening a lot. And then if you missed it, or if you missed the beginning, or the guy was talking as it began, that would really screw it all up.
Yeah.
Used to make a lot
I
of
know. But that's how we did it, right? And remember my older brother, your younger brother, he had that blue tape recorder. Do you remember that? It was a radio, really, it was like a royal blue radio tape recorder. I can't remember the brand, but I think he still has it. But yeah, that was really...
You know who's really bad for recording? Our grandfather. Our grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
He would sit, especially after he lost his sight. He would sit in the kitchen, and people would come and visit, and he would secretly be recording the conversations with the tape recorder on his lap.
Yes.
I have so many of those. I think I've got a cassette tape player still. But he'd get them all laughing, or he'd bait them.
Yes.
And he'd have all these conversations of them killing themselves laughing.
Well, and the funny thing was, because he didn't drink anymore at that point.
Yeah.
But Graham, and there was one evening with Aunt Rosella, her first cousin, coming for a visit, right? and he recorded them. And that was the liveliest, most probably drunken conversation we've ever heard.
They got talking about pickles, and we were so young, we didn't have a clue, but they were just killing themselves laughing. It was a conversation over our head, but they were having a ball.
Oh, yeah. It was so fun.
Graham's cousin was so much like her.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Two peas in a pod.
They were both from New Brunswick, had the New Brunswick twang.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they had a certain way of pronouncing words, and it was. Yeah.
But they had they were pretty well the same age too.
I think so.
They're like sisters, which was kind of nice because Graham's older sister was 11 years older.
Was she that much older than Ella? Oh,
yeah, because she was. That. There's some neat stuff. There are postcards from Ella in Fredericton when she was working in a hotel, inviting Graham to come. And she'd get it that day. Can you come tonight or the next day or something? And because it couldn't phone, so they had a couple of deliveries of mail every day.
That's
which is
funny.
just, I know, isn't that cool? Yeah. So there'd be a party, and I think that's how Graham met Grampy at one of the hotel parties where Aunt Ella worked. She was living there. She was living in Fredericton.
Yeah, because Aunt Ella and Uncle Ken were married. Yeah. And Uncle Ken was our grandfather's brother, and Aunt Ella was my grandmother's sister.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, and she had 11 children.
Aunt Ella? That many?
Yeah.
And Graham had one. Yeah. Graham just had mom. But she was also, a 15-pound baby or 14-pound baby? So that would kind of deter you from any more. She had like 3 in 1.
Yeah, that's right. I had a big baby, but I think Aunt Ella lost several. And I was telling you, the Ancestry.ca thing, I did the DNA, and one of our cousins came up that we were just talking about when we were trying to find Casa Loma. I think we talked about this on air, about Brenda being in the Miss Canada pageant.
Yes.
It's her brother that came up as a match. And so I reached out to him. Funny.
Did he ever get back to you?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. But I hope he does, because I'd like to know what happened to Brenda and Karen. And I think there was another brother, and I can't think of
Jeffrey.
Jeff. No, that's Jeffrey.
No, that was Jeff. That's who you reached out to. Yeah, there was another brother.
He was young. He was a baby. I think he's the baby. It'll come back to us. But yeah, I hope he does reach back. That'd be nice.
Well, just kind of thinking, we were talking before we came on to do this. I don't recall, but I've noticed lately, especially when I drive down Avenue Road, there's a Harvey's going down Avenue Road in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And it says established or something like since 1959. I do not recall Harvey's growing up at all. And then I looked it up, and Swiss Chalet was 1954.
Yeah, they've got the packaging saying how old they are. Like last year was their 60th anniversary or something. Yeah.
I do not recall these restaurants growing up. I mean, we had more homemade meals than we had anything else, right?
Yeah.
There was a few times that, our neighbors, Alan Frank, who we have spoken about, would come over, and we knew they had a car, and there was an A&W drive-in at Victoria Park and Danforth, and we'd start singing the theme song. Let's all go to A&W. And normally they gave in, and we went, and that's when they would bring your tray to the window, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
sit in the car. That was so cool. So I remember that. I remember at the top of our street, the International Chinese Food Restaurant. There was, I think, the 5-star restaurant along Kingston Road, close to Beach, close to the CIBC, for anyone that knows that area.
Now it's not there. The CIBC's gone. And they've got
it's still there.
Is that? I thought there's a condo. Maybe it's the next block over.
I think
with the YMCA,
funeral home.
The funeral home's gone. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure the last time I drove along Kingston Road, it was still there. But when I think of going the other way, like towards Victoria Park, I don't think of a restaurant.
You have to look at Google. There was Chez Monsieur Coco.
But in the 70s?
No, maybe not.
Yeah. Because Feathers came, that was at the top of Scarborough Road and Kingston Road. That was in the 80s that came. Or maybe late 70s. Well,
there was the place that we worked at with Alan Frank beside Bargain Harold's.
Yeah. which turned into many different things along the way.
It was a revolving door, that place.
I remember the Laura Secord at the top of our street, right at the corner.
Yes, that was nice.
Yeah. And then Apollo Pizza that was down at Neville and Queen, which I've never tasted a pizza like it again. And I can still taste the cheese. And I think I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but it was just a pizza that sticks out in my head. It had the nice greasiness and the cheese, the pepperoni. I don't know, but it was a good slice of pizza, unless we didn't eat enough pizza to realize if it was good or bad. I don't know. But we wouldn't have it for dinner, right? Like Mom would order it in like at 10 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah.
Right? It was never a dinner thing. I can remember the Chef Boyardee mixes that we used to have and make at dinner time.
That dough was impossible to work with.
It really was.
It was, it was not, it was stuck to your fingers. It was like, you had to coax it into corners and then it would spring back. It was horrible stuff. It was awful. But it didn't taste bad, once we got it in place. But yeah, there was always an adventure making Chef Boyardee pizza.
And we didn't add anything like extra fancy cheese, like mozzarella or anything like that. It was just the powdered cheese that it came with, right?
Well, I think
we really just stuck to the mix that came in the box.
I think the tomato sauce that came with it is the same stuff that was in the ravioli and the beefaroni. I think it was that. You just put that. It tasted the same.
I think you can. I don't think you can buy the Chef Boyardee one anymore, and I can still see the yellow box, right?
Yeah.
But I think Kraft still has one that you can buy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It was kind of, I think we would make that for dinner. Mom would have 2 boxes, but yeah, you're right. That dough was just
it's awful. Well, we did add, I think we added some cheese, and maybe we splurged on kielbasa or something to put on top of it.
Yeah, I don't recall.
I don't know.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, God, that just came to mind. Totally forgot about that.
Well, there are a lot of really, the Goof, of course, down on Queen Street, but also as you went out Kingston Road, there was Plaza Pizza just before Warden, and friends from school would work there and deliver pizza, and we would hang out, and between trips, he'd come and sit with us. It was really good pizza too. It was good pizza. But there was a Harvey's at the top at Warden and Danforth I don't know if it's still there, but it was.
I think it is. Kids. I think it's still, but I don't recall it. I mean, the first time I ever had McDonald's was when probably you got your license, and there was one up Victoria Park near St. Clair.
Yeah,
and we would drive up there, and then they built one near Coxwell and Danforth, and we would, when we were at Graham's, we'd go down there and bring back Big Macs for everybody.
Yeah.
But that wasn't until I was 16.
Yeah.
And then even Wendy's, my first experience with Wendy's was going downtown Toronto with a couple friends when we were going to Yorkville to hang around the studio to see the Bay City Rollers. There was a Wendy's just north of Dundas on Yonge Street that we went into. And that's when I had my first Frosty. It's not there anymore.
No, I'm trying to picture it.
But yeah, but like these things were so foreign to me because we didn't go to these things, right?
Well, I don't think many people did. Fast food was not a big thing back in the 70s.
No, maybe not.
It was kind of a novelty. The Tim Hortons donuts stuff, they've been around, I think, since 1966 was the...
And I do not recall even that.
When Jean first came up to Canada, she could not believe the number of donuts shops everywhere. She went home and was like gobsmacked, like, you wouldn't believe how many. And then I go to Louisiana and they have drive-through daiquiri places.
Now that sounds like an idea.
It was an interest. They didn't just serve daiquiris. You could get Black Russians. You just look at it was like a bar, and what they did is put it in a soda cup, with a plastic lid, and they taped the straw on top, so you wouldn't
drink it. Sounds like my kind of drive-through.
Yeah, I know, but you weren't allowed to drink it.
Actually, it's not so much Tim Hortons. What was it's not Coffee Time? There was another donut chain.
Country style.
country style.
Yeah.
And I can remember when I was in the militia heading up the 400 or whatever to go to Barrie and maybe stopping in and, everyone in the coffee, in whatever donut shop it was, smoking. The donuts weren't behind glass. They were just up on a shelf behind you.
Oh my God.
It's probably sitting out how long, right?
Oh my, yeah.
And then them just putting them, selecting and putting them in a box. But like, I can't imagine what they absorbed from all that cigarette smoke in the day. Well,
and you would taste the cigarette smoke on them.
I think so.
In some of the places, like in Lindsay, there was an especially smoky place, and I'd bring home a treat, and I'll open up the lid, and there's still smoke coming out of it. It's like, oh my God!
But even like McDonald's, remember their little tinfoil ashtrays?
Yes. Oh yeah, with the M on the bottom. Yeah.
I mean, it's. If you told, anyone now, like, that didn't experience this, they would be going, no way. Like,
that's right.
It's nuts to think about it.
I know. And then they introduced the non-smoking section. Remember that? Oh, I think you froze.
Yeah, you froze a little bit there.
Yeah, I think we had a little freezing. The non-smoking sections were introduced in donut stores. Remember that? It was the smaller part of the restaurant, and there often was a glass, and it looked like one of those scenes from Newsroom where everybody was smoking, and you could hardly see what was going on. It was just, oh God.
I know. When you think back, right? Like even the bigger restaurants, when they had the non-smoking and smoking, it didn't matter. I mean, it still wafted through the whole entire place.
Same with airplanes. You want non-smoking, and always I'd be sitting there and all the smoke would be wafting backwards. I'd be getting it anyway. If somebody's smoking, the wind could be blowing one way. The smoke is still going to come to me. It's just always the way it's been.
God.
God.
Yeah.
It's just,
so to the listeners out there, can you think, like, growing up in the 70s, like, did your family have a favorite place they went to? Like, was it a tradition to go out? Because it really wasn't for us. It was a treat. The only tradition I can say I had was with my grandmother when I would stay the weekends, and we would go down to Coxwell and Danforth to the TTC Grill.
Oh, yeah.
And, and get the quarter barbecue, half barbecue chicken or whatever. And that was a real treat. I did that actually quite a bit with her.
I love that place. It was very deco.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an A&W now.
Yeah, I think it's still a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bus terminal grill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Spent many
that brings back a lot of memories. That was a lot of fun. That was a real
and the food was
to go
good.
With her. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of places along the Danforth. There was
I guess maybe too. We went to Zellers or Kresge's or Woolworths, right?
Yeah, that was kind of down at Coxwell and Danforth, or Coxwell and Gerard.
Yeah,
there was the Kresge and the Woolworths together, and they both had counters. So, and Graham would always treat. What would you like?
Yeah.
Let's go have something to eat. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if we were at Shoppers World Danforth, they had the food court that we called the garbage court once we started working there, because that's where the Reitmans was that we worked. And they, as awful as it was just tradition. You had to get their macaroni and cheese. It was just this huge vat of overcooked macaroni drowning in this cheese sauce. But we ate it. It was cheap. And it was open space with everyone smoking around you.
That's right.
Even like when I went with Mom and Graham, like they would be having a cigarette lit while they were eating.
I know. Can you not? Just for the duration of the meal?
Man.
How did we survive?
I don't know. But the Zellers was a cool place to go to because they had the booths and the counter.
Yeah.
And their burgers were really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but it wasn't like something we did often. It was a treat. And Mom, a lot of the meals we had were homemade, and as well as at Graham's.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah, it was. But
I just don't recall the Harveys and the Swiss Chalets and all that.
I
And
don't
maybe
think.
they were far and few between, right?
Yeah, I think it wasn't until I started going to Ryerson that I ate more fast food, and that the end of the 70s, 80s, things were starting to mushroom like
Yeah,
McDonald's, and
yeah.
yeah,
I know
became
in
more of a thing.
Bruce's area, my husband's area, he grew up at Birchmount and Lawrence. They had Harry's,
Oh
which
yeah,
is an old staple, and it's been there for a long time. And when I started going out with Bruce in the early 80s, that was our place to go. We'd walk up there, and when I could get away with it without it landing on my hips or anything like that, you do the onion rings, the cheeseburger, and the milkshake.
yeah.
And also that area takes credit for the very first Pizza Nova
There you go.
ever as well. So
Hmm.
there you go. I'll put a little plug out there on his
Yeah.
behalf.
Yeah, that was the age when a lot like Pizza started up then.
Mm.
Because I remember I befriended, I don't know how I met her, but she worked for Pizza, and the owner, it was the first one, I think it was Coxwell and, no, maybe it was Woodbine and Queen or something, the first one.
Okay,
And
yeah, I can
that
see
was
that
like,
one.
yeah. And I walked her home with Tootie the cat following us all the
Oh,
way.
being
I
our
think
cat.
I think I walked her as far as beach because it was night. And Tootie followed me all the way back, and she wouldn't let me pick her up. And when I'll never forget this. We got back to our house, walking up Tootie and I, walking up the pavement. And just as I was hitting the first step, I heard something, and I looked behind me, and she just flopped. She absolutely flopped. I mean, she walked many, many blocks yelling at us the whole way. And we kept saying, go home, go home. It was weird. Yeah. So I remember that Pizza started. Well, I still lived at home. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, your mom was a pretty good cook that I didn't feel like we ever missed out on anything. So,
No. Well, and she always cooked better. And Graham too. Graham was really good. Her bread. Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was just it wasn't a thing in that
yeah,
period of
just
time.
that when I saw the date, I went, there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Because in 1959, well, I wasn't born yet.
no,
You were,
I
because you're my
was.
older sister.
I was 4 years old.
And you don't remember? No.
I don't. Who do I complain to? I don't.
Even when I think of the Danforth, going down there next to the TTC Grill, there were no restaurants, a lot of fruit markets.
Well, down at Coxwell and Queen, we used to go to the Diamond Grill. That was right at the corner.
That's
Where
right.
The
I
loop.
do remember that one.
Yeah, Grampy, I think he knew everybody there. He probably knew them from...
Because the apartment building was like a hop, skip, and
That's
jump
right.
away,
That's right. And he knew all the jockeys. He knew all the racetrack people. And he wasn't into race cars, but he knew the Sandy Hollies and the big
wow.
names, the jockeys who were like 3 feet tall. He knew them all, and they would eat there. They hung out at this restaurant. So
do you remember? I think it's now closed, but there was also a restaurant at Gerard and Coxwell. Yeah, Coxwell.
Yeah.
That Uncle Wilbur, who we have spoken about previously, took Arthur and I. We got off the bus, and he took us there. And
was it the Emerald? The Emerald?
Maybe.
Girl? I think somebody out there knows.
It was right across on the Kresge and Wilworth area.
Yeah, it was right on the corner, right beside the Shamrock Bowling Alley.
Yeah. And I noticed he left like 50 cents on the table. So I thought it'd be funny if I took it, which I did. And we catch the bus to take us up home to Scarborough Road, and the Bingham bus, right? Mm-hmm. And Bingham Loop bus. And halfway home, I open up my hand and I show him the 50 cents. He was not happy with me.
No.
I didn't know what it was. It was just like,
you forgot this. Did he take it back from you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Probably put it in Joe's bank.
Yeah. Yeah, really. That's what you get.
Man, yeah, no, it was just not, we did not have restaurant etiquette.
No, we didn't. No. Well, and Fran's was very popular downtown. You went to Diana Sweets and very, which I never went to, but.
Wait, we also had Nova Fish and Chips up the top of the street too, right?
No, that was down on Queen.
Oh, but did we not have a fish and chip store at the top of our street? Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're right. Nova was down.
Somebody will correct us. Yeah, I remember.
Yes,
Nova's
please.
still there. Nova, I still see the sign.
Is
in
it
my head.
really? Wow.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
you used to get your French fries in the newspaper?
Yeah. Duckworth's was out Kingston Road. That was very popular. What
That's
was your
right.
favorite fish and chip place, people? Everybody's got one. That stands out in their mind, especially from childhood. Always tasted so good. Well, look,
It's
I'm looking
crazy,
at the
though.
time. We got off on restaurants.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, yeah, if you're listening to this and you're on our Facebook page, like, did you guys go out to eat? Like, what did you do? Or was it like us?
Well,
Like, not
what
that
was
we
it?
were sheltered. It just wasn't a thing we did.
Yeah.
And
What
maybe
was it?
mom also didn't have the money.
Well, that's true. Like, what was your treat? What was your family outing? Where did you go? What restaurant?
Yeah, because we had the dairy bar at Silver Birch, right? And so they had ice cream and they had homemade popsicles. You remember those?
Yeah.
We used
Oh,
to
I
get
do.
7 for 25 cents.
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
popsicles. They were
Yeah.
so good.
They were very good.
And there was the Maple Leaf Dairy up on the Danforth
Yeah, by Shoppers
by
World.
Shoppers World. And
I
think it's
remember.
still there, but it's not called Maple Leaf anymore.
It's called St. Clair ice cream. I think it probably was back then too, but they changed the name. I remember going there when we lived with Graham and with the Bulls, who had like a ton of kids and a station wagon, and they took me along and getting a grape flavored ice cream that was almost as big as my head. It was like a huge amount of ice cream. And you get, I think, with like 7 kids in the car, all with melting ice cream. It was not pretty. But
Well, and just because you're talking about ice cream, and I know you posted this on Facebook today, I think, in these crazy times with what's going on and has nothing to do with the 70s, go buy Chapman's ice cream.
Chapman, yeah.
It's Canadian owned, Canadian proud. They are having to source out certain products for their ice cream, but they are going to absorb the costs themselves.
Yeah.
They're not going to be passing it on to the consumer,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So go out and buy Chapman's
Mm-hmm.
if you hear this message.
And we can plug Kawartha too, because I'm sure they're going to be doing the same thing.
That's true. Yeah,
They're very-
you're right.
they're
Kawartha
both,
Dairy, yeah.
both top of my list as far as ice cream.
Yeah, both Canadian, both, yeah. And you're right. We have to give a shout out to them too.
Yeah.
And to any other Canadian dairy out there that makes it.
Woohoo!
But the fact that they put out a statement to let Canadians know, right, that they're doing this, I think we need to support any local business right now,
Absolutely.
any Canadian business.
Yeah.
And support also a little plug for the farmers of Ontario.
Yay.
They do a lot on our behalf. And so support local.
Yeah, the 250% tax on milk or tariff on milk that the orange one has introduced is just heinous.
We don't want to make this political, but it's everywhere, and it's
elbows up, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. Elbows up.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of a dirty move in hockey, but
it is. But we'll do it.
We'll be clear. But Gordie Howe, the great one, greater than the other G. But yeah. Anyway, we digress. And it's time to go. So
this is, memory lane once again. We were going to talk about a couple neighbors, but we never quite got there. So episode 26 maybe.
Yeah, you're on. So if comment anything in the it's been kind of quiet on the group. Everybody's tired, I think, but now spring is springing. It's going to be warm coming up, so feel free to post your memories and your favorite place to eat, and life in the 70s.
And if there's anyone that, you want us to invite, send us their name. You can post it on the Facebook page or direct message us, and we'll send them an invite and get them part of the group.
That's right. We should have another contest coming up soon, too.
Yes. Yeah. Springtime contest. Maybe Easter.
Maybe Easter. We'll give away a rabbit. No. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Only kidding.
Only kidding.
Only kidding.
All right.
Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon. We promise.
Yep. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.